Hello and welcome back to the Man's Kitchen. It is a new year and we are ready to shoot some new episodes. I took all of December off and the first little bit of January. For those of you that don't know, I also run a restaurant and December is our busiest time of the year. It was crazy. We cooked so many meals, we did so many caterings, we cooked so many turkeys. And now that it's all done, and I've had a little bit of a rest, I'm ready to get back into the videos starting today. Alright, now that we're back from the intro, if you don't already follow me on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, the links for all that will be down in the description below. And if you want to subscribe to this channel and hit the like button, and also ding the bell icon so you get notifications when I post new videos. Now that all of that's out of the way, we can get into today's video. Alright, like I said, I'm back and this is the first video of the year. Now I'm on the wrong side of the counter, I'm sitting down because today we're going to talk about chef's knives. We're going to do a little bit of an equipment review, product review, whatever you want to call it. I have 3 chef's knives sitting in front of me. I have a Messermeister 10-inch chef knife. I've had this knife since the first day of college. I've had this knife now for, I don't know, 13 years. I got this knife Christmas of 2017. It is a 6-inch chef's knife. And then I got this knife this year for Christmas that just passed, so Christmas of 2018. I've only had this for about 2.5 weeks. So my opinions on this are going to be fresh opinions without any, I've been using it this long, I really stood up to the test of time kind of thing. I can't really say anything like that about this. I can just say what I like and don't like off the start. Now, when we compare the two, you'll notice some differences. This one has a triple riveted wooden handle with a full tang construction. This one has a rubber handle and it's a half tang. This one is stamped stainless steel. This one is high carbon steel. Now it doesn't say on it if it's stamped or forged, but I can tell you for a fact this one is stamped. And basically what that means is they have a sheet of steel and they have a press and they come down with the press and they go boom, and knives fall out. Then they take it to a sharpener, put an edge on it, gets glued into the handle, and there you go, mass produced. This was actually expensive at the time for me when I went to school. It was $600 for the full set. I got this, a boning knife, a fillet knife, a couple paring knives, some carving knives, everything all came in one set. It was like $600, came in a, what I thought was an awesome bag to carry them around in, which was ridiculously heavy. If I were redoing it all again, I would get a simple roll-up. With that said, I've had this for 13 or 14 years now, and it's still here, it still works well, it still cuts things. And since it's stainless, it should be around forever as long as I keep getting it sharpened. Moving on to the 6-inch Dalstrong Gladiator series. I'll also link this below in the description since I've had a full year working with this and you've seen it in several videos so far. And the reason I got this is my wife bought this because I've always mentioned to her I would like to get some nice wooden handled, triple riveted, like nice looking knives. That not just nice looking, but nice looking that do a good job. So she went on Amazon that year, she typed in knives, this was in the right price point for a Christmas gift, and she thought that since I didn't have a 6-inch and I had a 10-inch, she thought Well, why would he want another 10-inch? He already has a 10-inch knife. So she got me the 6, and I use it for everything I could all year long that was a small cutting job. Anytime I was cutting something small, this is what I grabbed. And I tell you, I fell in love with this tiny knife all year long. I was even trying to do stuff with it that I shouldn't do with it because of its size. And it did an amazing job. Now, one of the drawbacks is that since this is high carbon steel, not stainless, it'll go rusty if you don't take care of it. And what I mean by that is somebody in the household, not me, but somebody, cut up some cucumbers or apples or something one day, and they didn't quite dry it off all the way. They didn't clean it. I don't know. I pulled it out of the drawer, and there was not significant rust, but there was a bit of rust on it like the next day. So I had to clean it off the best I could. And there's still up here a couple little blemishes, and I can't take those out without really trashing the finish. Not really willing to do that. But they're up here, they're pretty far away from the actual cutting edge, so as long as they don't spread, it's not a big deal. Thankfully, nothing's happened to the new one yet. But when it comes to cleaning these ones, my rubber handled knives, they're stainless. I got no problem with anybody putting these in the dishwasher on the upper rack, as long as they're not, as long as there's not a couple knives put together so they can scratch up on each other. It's no big deal as long as they have their own separate spots. But when it comes to these, what I like to do is I use scrubbing bubbles. I take the sprayer, I give it a spray down both sides, I take a cloth, I wipe it clean. There's disinfectant bleach in here, so I don't have to worry about any bacteria growth. And then I return it to its sheath and I put it in the drawer. This one, I noticed a slight bit of a bend when I took it out of the packaging. So I very carefully tweaked it back, and it's seeming to stay straight now. I took it to work for a day at the restaurant, and I was cutting up stale bread for croutons, I was cutting up carrots. We were playing around with it. At the restaurant, we have rental knives that are of similar quality to this. So we were taking some vegetables, like some carrots, toss in the air, take a whack at them with the rental knives, see, they were kind of more getting hit. They were still cutting in half, but they were getting pushed over quite a bit, like they were falling 10 feet away from you. We're tossing them up with this one and giving it a crack, and they were almost falling in spot, which was kind of cool. So they say squash is one of the hardest things to cut, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to pan the camera down. I got a cutting board here. I'm going to cut a squash in half with this, I'm going to cut a squash in half with this, and we can see which one really eases the squash through the best. Alright guys, we got a squash here. I'm going to cut the top off. That wasn't hard, that wasn't easy. I'll try it with this one now. I would say the difference in effort was about half. This used half the effort that this one used. And just by compare, I'll show you with this too. This was the hardest just because of its size. I had to really give it some good stabby kind of motions. But squash is one of the harder vegetables to cut through. And with this cheaper knife, I would definitely say, as long as you're not doing lots of squash, it's not going to be a problem. I wouldn't want to do squash all day with this at all, even though I love this knife. It's just too big of a job for it. I wouldn't mind busting down a case of squash with this. I know that there are knives that can do a better job, but at the price point, I feel like this is a very excellent knife. I've seen some negative reviews about the Dalstrong brand online. And for me, I have no problem with this. It fits my hand well. I just took through the squash pretty well. The 6-inch one has held up well all year long, so I'm assuming the 10-inch, being in the same series, should perform just as well. Only time will tell, and I'll keep you updated on the performance of this knife over the rest of the year. Alright, now that we're back from this little tabletop review of the Dalstrong Gladiator series knives that I have, in comparison to the Messermeister knife. I've had this for 13 years and I do not regret it at all. This is an amazing value buy. I would definitely give this knife like a 6 out of 10. I know it just failed the squash test I put in front of you, but it wasn't really meant to succeed. I would definitely give this one 7.5, 8 out of 10. And this one, she grabs an 8 out of 10. And this is all relative to their price. I mean, this is not, I believe this is a sub $100 knife. There are $250 knives that would blow this out of the water. I don't know if it's worth the extra $150 though. I really don't, because for the extra $150 I could have got the bread knife that matches, I could have got the carving knife, could have got a boning knife. You open up your expanded, the more money you have to spend across the range, you can get more knives to do specific jobs. When you sink $250 into one of these bad boys, two things happen. One, you've spent a lot of money on a knife that should last forever, so you won't need to replace it, hopefully. But two, sometimes, not everybody, but some people kind of lock themselves into that, and they're like, oh, well, if I get a boning knife, it has to match now, because this was so amazing, the next knife has to be just as amazing. And then before you know it, you've got $1,500 worth of knives in your drawers, and as important as knives are, they don't make a good chef. They don't even make an okay chef. Somebody that knows how to cook will make do with what they have. If you had a choice between something like knives or pots and pans, I would sink my money on the pots and pans. I would buy the most expensive pots and pans I can afford, and then I would spend what's left on my knives. So with that said, I feel like these are an amazing value, because depending what your budget is, you can probably buy these after your amazing pots and pans. If you spend $200–300 on a chef's knife, then you might end up spending less on your pots and pans. Unless, you know, your pockets run a lot deeper than mine and you can buy them all. And in that case, all the power to you. Now, with that said, that was my review of these knives. I'm not going to do a ton of review videos, don't worry, unless you like that. If you like review videos, leave me comments in the section below, and I will do more review videos more often. There's a couple other things I want to get to for reviews, so maybe I might do one of these a month, unless you want to see them more often. Alright, well, thanks for coming out and watching the video, and if you like this channel, please click the subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button for the video and leave me a comment below. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And I will see you next week.